New York City, right now as we speak, has the worst air quality in the whole world. As much as I love Dwayne Wade, as much as I love Gabrielle Union, to be honest, I wish they both would just take care of their family, take care of their business, and shut the f up.
What's up, everybody? How are you doing out there this hump day? Can you believe that it's October the 4th? Oh my God, this year is going and it's going quick. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk for Real Men. I'm your host, of course, Lee Black, and hopefully you're having a fantastic week. I'm actually doing pretty good today. So I'm on my grind, doing my workhouse thing, still relaxing, coming back down off of vacation, but it's been a good day today. And so, welcome. If this is your first time, I'm going to bring in my co-host from Memphis, Tennessee. This is Miss Tasha. What's going on, McMac?
Not much, not much. How are you?
I'm doing good today. I'm having a good day. How about yourself, sweetheart?
It's Wednesday, so that's the
That's
positive.
something. That's something.
Yeah,
Shit.
it's
So
something.
we gotta take the little slices of happiness where we can get them from. And so, of course, if you don't know, on Wednesdays we tend to kind of get into a little bit more. I won't say serious, but the conversation takes a turn a little bit more on relationship related stuff versus Saturdays when we have a little bit of fun. So if this is your first time joining, feel free to comment, be a part of the show, comment. We hope to hear from you. And today we are going to be visiting the TFG page. In case you don't know, Real Talk is one of the shows on the platform of TFG. TFG, the banner. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook. You can look for us under TFG Ratchet. And that's because on our show, we kind of get a little bit raw, get a little bit real. Don't get your feelings hurt. It's all in good fun. We have one simple rule here that we'll agree to disagree without being disagreeable. And so you can find me under my own banner, strictly on Facebook or YouTube as well, under Real Talk for Real Men. But if you don't know, go to TFG's page and you'll find, a host of other shows with content that just will blow your mind. So I'm here every Wednesday, every Saturday, as at least I try to be. And tonight we're going to be visiting TFG's one of its pages. We're going to be visiting TFG's His and Hers Relationship Perspectives, and we're going to be considering some of the topics on there at random. So welcome, Carol. Good to see you again, sweetheart. So I hope to hear your commentary as well. I try, in case you don't know, to not look at the topics ahead of time. I like for my reaction, my views to be just as visceral, just as raw as yours. So I'm just going to be thinking off the dome. I don't like to be rehearsed. So with that said, let's visit the page. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Hopefully you guys can hear me, and we're going to just kind of take it in as we go, and we'll talk about it and see what comes up. Normally, we have other members of the family. I don't know who might join us. I do know Brother Kenny says that he can't make it tonight, so he's going to be popping in. I don't know what Sherry, I don't know what the postums are, but I always have said from the very beginning, anytime I got that one right there, we're going to do a show, even if it's just us. Even if you just have to hear us two opinionated SOBs, that's what it is. So, okay, Tasha, let's get this party started without further ado. I'm going to share the screen, and, the beautiful part about this, you'll get to hear Tasha's views, you get to hear my views as well. So hopefully, McMac, give me a thumbs up or let me know if you can see that and see my screen and hear me still.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The first thing that caught my attention was it says today on the radio, they are asking who comes first, the spouse or the kids. This is always such a touchy subject. I wanted to start with this one because I posted something on my page that I wonder if it's in reference to, and I'm going to play this video in its entirety, and then we'll come back and ask this question that they're asking, who comes first, the kids or the spouse? So I'm going to stop sharing so that I can pull this video up first, and I'm going to play this video in its entirety, and I want you guys we're just going to listen, and then I want to get your views. And even if you're, like I said, in the commentary, I want to hear what you got to say. Derek, what's up, partner? Good to have you. So now let's share my screen. I'm going to play this video in its entirety. I posted it on my page because I found it absolutely mesmerizing. So, Tasha, can you still hear and see?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Here we go. Now, if you notice the caption that says, "You don't pay no bills in here, you need to leave. Stepdad wants stepson out of the house." All right.
That's my only son. At some point, he got to go. Never no time. I mean, at some point, never no time. Never no time. Well, tell me, Christian. No, you tell. We talking about you grown and you gotta go somewhere. I told him, you always say you ain't going no damn where. You go when you get ready. Man, I just feel at some point you need to make your own way. That's what I be want to walk through the house naked sometime, and there you go. So I mean, what No, if anything, you can go not him. How about that? I want to pay all the bills in here. You don't tell me where I go. The thing is, like, why do I got to do my mama's house? Like, why do I got to leave my mama's house? Period. Man, you damn near 40 years old. Damn near it's time to go. I mean, at what point? I'm 29 now. Well, that's pretty 10 but years you know what? When I met you, you was living with your mama. Man, please. You was in and out. Come on, man. With your mama. I was 22 years old. Now you going to tell me because he 29. I ain't getting up. I'm not getting up. Man, I'm not going nowhere. Yeah. Well, you ain't gotta go nowhere. You know what? Them they ain't gonna pay no bills either. Then, damn it. Now, how you feel about that? You don't want him to go? I won't pay the bills. He gonna continue to pay. He got to go, man. It's too much. See, we arguing and stuff about stuff. But at the end of the day, all you gotta do is tell me to help. I ain't saying nothing. Like, man, you grown ass man. You supposed to know man, garbage overfill. You supposed to know to take that outside. Come on, man. I don't have to tell you all this stuff, man. The thing is, I'm barely here, so I'm barely making garbage. So why I got to the garbage shop? I'm barely here. If I'm barely here, barely making garbage, barely making dishes, like why I gotta do anything? She gonna always make excuses for you, man. But he don't even be here. So what is you talking about? He don't be here like that. He come here, he sleeps, and then he don't business the rest of the day. When he's here, he needs to help out. He needs to do some things. He needs to be productive. He ain't paying no bills. Damn it, he gonna start paying some bills around. I ain't paying, but I gotta pay. I'd rather want to get the fuck out. But listen, my mama said I gotta pay no bills. I ain't paying no bills. He gotta pay. What I want him to do is save his money and do what he needs to do with his money. The whole reason why and not pay no bills. Because all this stuff you bring it to him, he still got the titty in the mouth. You let all that stuff go on. No, you know what I know? You jealous. You jealous of my you would say you jealous of my son. Only you would say some bull. I don't know because not. I just know I ain't getting on my mama's house. Like if I gotta get my mama's house, you gotta put me on my mama's house. Well, damn it, I'm be carrying you. You got to go. What you mean you want to carry them out in the back? No problem carrying them out. I shoot them on out. And Michael, now you know good and damn well I'm not kicking my son out. Well, what? I ain't worried about it. Like at the end of the day, I'm here. I live here, so until I'm ready to get out, I'm gonna be here. So at what point is you trying to? What's your plans for this man? What's my plan is to stay in here as long as I need to stay in here. That's my. I mean, what I'll be 45, 50, and he gonna be 45, 50 up in here. Crazy as hell. What? Damn it, I'm gonna be out there. Bye. Or he's going to go. Get the stepping. Because this is my only son. He ain't going nowhere. My only son, shit. You the one made him like this because your weak ass. You know what? Come and go. Your son is forever. I see what I'm saying. You better go. I see what I'm saying. That's right. And like I said, you made him this way. You made him this way. I ain't make him this way. This is a product of your. I ain't making this way. Like I said, it ain't like he don't. Your bad. It ain't like he don't know how to get out here. Like I said, when he ready to go, he can go.
Okay, folks. I wanted to play that in its entirety because there's so much to unpack there. Where do I begin? So let me set the table. This was clearly a real argument happening in a family. And if you gleaned and picked up on some of the things, she said that when I met you, you was living with your mama. He said I was 22. Now, he said he's 22. We can probably glean that they've been living together for quite a few years now. Mm-hmm. They have a 29-year-old son, because clearly looking at that man, he's not 22 anymore.
Right.
So they've been living together for a while. Now, I don't know if this is their only house they living in or whatever, but from what you can gather, it's her house.
Mm-hmm.
The boyfriend, the man in the house, he's living with the mother. The 29-year-old son is also living there, and he's questioning why is he still in. The 29-year-old son is basically saying he's not going anywhere as long as his mama say he can stay there. He don't even have to clean up because under his logic, and the mother agrees, he's barely there. And that question that was asked on TFG's His and Hers Relationship Perspectives was, who comes first, the spouse or the kids? And this is such a touchy subject. She mentioned that that's her only son. And basically, as long as she got a house, a roof over her head, he doesn't have to go anywhere. Tasha, I really want to get your views on this, but I want to read a couple of comments first. Victoria says, I went with 2 of my church members. We just prayed now that his check he gave us does not bounce. Okay. Derek says, that's ridiculous. Well, I guess it's time for homeboy to leave and let her stay with her grown child. Stacy says, good evening, everybody. I only caught the end. So yeah, Stacy, hopefully I gave a recap. There's 29-year-old sons living in a house with his mom and her boyfriend. And he says he's barely there. He doesn't have to clean. The mother doesn't expect him to clean. He doesn't pay any bills. The boyfriend wants him out. Tasha, what do you think about this?
It's so on the face value to the question that was posted in like the TFG, who comes first, your spouse or your children? I would say, of course, like your spouse, because you have to cultivate that relationship. However, because the children are supposed to, go on and create their own families or leave, then it's just you and that person. However, in 2023, has he seen the price of rent? Okay, I understand. I understand not wanting to leave. Like, I get that. I would push it.
That's real. That's real.
So damn. I think the rules are just a little bit, different, because now you see more people, like my age, moving back home, being with their parents or staying at home and not leaving for a while. So that's a whole other thing. Right. But I do think that in this sense, I would have like a whole bunch of questions. How long has he been there? Is this something where he's lived there the whole time that the mom and the boyfriend have been together? Like, has he been there the whole time? Did he leave and come back? Excuse me. Was a discussion had, of what his contributions were going to be? Okay. Was there an expectation that was set from the very beginning? Or was it just kind of, he's there, maybe once a week, twice a week, or he only comes in to change? Is he working? Is he in school? That it's so much there to consider. But at the bare minimum, when he is there, he should be doing something. But I would say this, but even to like the whole trash scenario, if he's barely there like he says he is, why the fuck is the trash getting that full anyway? Where you think it's him that has to be the one to put it out? Also, would the same conversation be had if there was a daughter and not the son?
You're adding so much to this, because I do think gender comes into play, matters. I love how you started out and talked about, when you look at today's economy and housing market, that's real. It's very real, and I truly hate that my brother Kenny is not on here, because he posted something on his page, and I'll go on and share it, where he said that, look, it's, the way he feels. I wish he could express his own, because I don't want to put words in his mouth, but what I gleaned from was that as long as there's breath in his body, he gonna do for his children, he says. He feel like that's his role. And I respect the shit out of that. And a lot of parents feel that way. I want to ask you, before I go on my opinion, could you be in a scenario where you and your man is living together and a grown child is living with you? Are there, under what circumstances would that be okay for you?
Well, number one, for me, I wouldn't necessarily be with someone who had kids, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, we'll just start out like that. I'll play along.
No, that's important that you said that. That's important you said that. But go ahead.
But for the purposes of this, I would say for me, if if I had a man, and let's say that the older child had to come back because they fell on hard times, they couldn't afford it. Look, if you coming back because you got evicted because you was fucking off with your money or something, you're gonna be on a tight timetable. And again, I'm gonna be asking all those questions of, like, are you working? Are they in school? What are we looking at, like, for as far as like how long they're gonna be here? A conversation would be had, but I also would be a little bit more sympathetic because I know what it's like to be in that situation where it's like somebody wants you to be doing more and you're not really there, and it's like they want you to be given more and more and more, but again, like you're barely there. It's like, and it's like I'm trying to help myself. So as long as they're trying to help themselves to improve their situation, then you can take your time.
Okay. Fantastic. Let me read a couple of comments, then I'm going to give you my views. Stacy, welcome, Stacy. She says, that's sad. It's time for him to grow up. He should be at least cleaning up and respectful. The mom doesn't want to be married. Carol says, good points, Tasha. So a lot of points you made, Tasha, and I think brilliant points. Stacy said, well, if he's barely there, at least be respectful. And Carol goes on to say, first of all, the way the son is, the mom evidently didn't set any rules for him. This conversation should have been had long before now between the mom and her man. I love that, Carolyn. And I'm gonna start on that back point. That could never happen to me. And I literally said that on my page. This could never be me. And that's because, again, I believe in setting those boundaries on things like that's important long before we get there. Oh, we lost Tasha, so she'll pop back in. I have dated women with children. Now, anybody who knows me, one of the things that I'm dating that woman, not the child. So my views and ways of doing things has always been that there's no place in here for no children. My home is not set up for it. And in this case, I'm talking about little children. But now if we're going to even be talking about grown children, let me go here. I'm old school. I'm old fashioned. I believe every grown person need to have their own place and space. Now to Tasha's point, rent is high, bills, all these kind of things. We're seeing more and more now, blended families living together, that type of thing. I guess if that was agreed upon, for me, it would never work. I need to be the king of my castle. I covet me being able to be the boss, Lord, king of the jungle, this motherfucker. It would irk the shit out of me have a grown-ass man walking through my house. I'm looking at the guy that didn't show his face, but he's standing there with his house shoes on, drinking water, going in and out of the refrigerator. Let me tell you right now, that would piss me the fuck off. Son, no son, whatever, that would piss me the fuck off. I don't even like to see big hustling ass teenagers walking around. When you get a certain age, I'm of the belief as a man, now I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a chauvinist because you brought up gender. I am a chauvinist in this sense that I believe firmly that a man is responsible for getting out on his own, standing on his own 2 feet. Now, if you're talking about 29 years old and what I'm gathering from that conversation, he said he's barely there. So my thing is, wherever the fuck you at all those other times, why don't you just stay there? But to me, you're using this as just, it's my mama's house, so I can come and go, and I've always got a place to flop, and I can eat. You clearly not cleaning up. And so I get your point, Tasha, where you're saying that if you're barely there, but that's just it. If you in somebody else's house, whether you like it or not, the rules are the rules. I agree with you. It might not be fair, but if the expectation is you got to do something, and I'm going to give you a perfect example. When I first moved here to Atlanta, I stayed with my sister-in-law. I came in with the mindset before she ever was going to have to tell me, I'm going to get out of here as quickly as I can. Mm-hmm. I put myself on a 30-day watch list. I'm talking about I hit the bricks looking for a place, blah, blah, blah. I didn't bring a whole lot of shit in. I wanted my footprint to be very small because I'm living in somebody's house. Oh, and by the way, every single day that I was there, I cleaned up, not just the space I was in. I was doing dishes that wasn't even mine. I didn't even eat after. I was buying food, putting in the refrigerator that I wasn't even eating. I was sweeping out the garage. I was making sure that I added value to that situation rather than take away from it. As a grown-ass man, guess what I also did? I had my own detergent, soap, mouthwash, toothpaste, things like that. I'm harder on men, and what I seen in that scenario, I hate to see mothers raise sons where the son think that that's okay, because it just sends a signal to me that that's going to be his expectation, because mama did it. She allowed me to lay up. So what kind of woman are you going to get? You're going to be seeking that same type of scenario. It could never happen to me. I couldn't tolerate it. And I love your point, Tasha. If it was an emergency situation and you're 29 years old, fuck your mama. Me and you, men to men. Your mama ain't gonna even be in the room. Me and you, men to men, man to man, gonna be having a conversation. Hey, what's going on, John? So, so man, I see you going through a hard time. So, so how long you feel like you need to stay here? That's fuck your mama, about what she talking about. Me and you gonna be having that conversation man to man. How long do you plan on staying here? Are you working? What are you going to contribute to the household? Oh, and by the way, since you coming in and me and your mama been living here, and I'm used to walking around this motherfucker like Winnie the Pooh. Anybody who knows me, I roam this motherfucker like Winnie the Pooh. I only wear a t-shirt. My drawers and shit is off. I like swing. When I get off work, my pants and drawers come off. I can't do that now that you and this motherfucker. So now we got to have a conversation. How long you going to be interrupting my motherfucking flow? And don't go to your mama, actually, because I'm the motherfucking king and the emperor in this motherfucking. If you can't respect that, we're going to have some problems. And I ain't going to be there with mama.
I wish I would. I wish my dad would start dating some random bitch and she come telling me some shit like that. She would, this is my daddy's house. This ain't your house. And that's what I would say. This is my daddy's house. This ain't your house. But see, my dad and my stepmom, that's his wife.
Right.
And I think that plays, for me, that plays a part in it too, because if it's not your house, you moved into that house, y'all splitting the bills or whatever, I'm going to go to whoever's name is on it. And it ain't yours.
I love that you said that, because that even orchestrates all the other little intricacies that make this situation fraught with so many issues. That's why for me as a man, I would never move in on a woman. If we got serious, we're going to have to get a house together, because what you just said. I cannot have my name on the lease, on the deed, to where at any point you can tell me to leave. Do you know that's why I covet living alone? Because even all the nasty, filthy, no good bitches that have come through my threshold, you can't take a motherfucking toothbrush out this bitch. Now, when we fucking and swinging from the chandeliers, you can drop your shit all through this bitch. Before 3 o'clock, I'm going to gather your shit up and have it neatly so you can get the fuck up out of here, because you can't take no TVs. You can't take all this shit here is mine. This is mine. And I covet that. Now, to your point, you know what? When I was married, that was my wife's house. The moment I'm married, that's not even my house anymore. It is my wife's house. Now, having said that, I'm the man of that house. And if she got a son, and I was in a situation before where I was living with a woman and her grown sons. You know who I'm talking about, Terry. Her grown son.
Why would you say a name? Just messy. Just
her grown ass big son barreling through every time we look up, wanting to do his laundry. So, first time I ain't say nothing. Second time I ain't say nothing. That third time I had to have a conversation that, look, I'm buying, the detergent and shit, and he just coming through, this is, so again, that's just me. I'm so much harder on men. I'm sorry. Now, that's not to say that I would let a grown daughter stay too, because I might well be a little bit more lenient, but I ain't gonna lie to you. I can't have no bitch around there that's 29 either, bleeding between the legs and talking on the phone with her heels kicked up and fucking in the house either. I need to know what your plan is too, bitch. So you know what I'm saying? That's why I don't fuck with kids. Grown, old, middle-aged, no teeth, middle teeth. you know what? Keep kids away from me. You stay in that's the whole reason why. We got a lot of comments on this one, folks. So let me read a few of them. Carol says, first of all, the way the son is, the mom evidently didn't set any rules for him. This conversation should have, okay, yeah, you already read that. I'm sorry. But yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. Miss Carolyn, she says, preach, Lee. That's what I was taught. You know, Stacy says, exactly, Lee. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate that. Carolyn says, my son left home at 18 and has never returned home. Me neither. I left home at 17. He is now married with children and a homeowner. I'm proud of the fact that I never had to go back and I stood on my own 2 feet no matter what. Carol says, my son is my heart, but trust, he has to stand on his own and be the man I raised him. And that's a key thing you said, Miss Carol, the way you raised him to be, and that's not happening now. Miss Stacey says, I have a 29, about to be 30-year-old son, and he left home at 21 and had and still have his own house. See, that's what I'm talking about. But again, we're not seeing that anymore. And Miss Stacey says, Tasha, I felt the same way with my dad. I was daddy's girl when he got married and knew I wasn't having it. I had to grow up and stop being selfish.
I wish the fuck I would. That's first of all, ma'am, the way that I would tell a woman so quick, you only are related to him by a piece of paper. I'm a piece of him that you'll never meet. I'm a piece of him. Please. Me and that bitch to be thumping, okay? No, absolutely not.
We're gonna agree to disagree, but I know you is not playing. I know you is so motherfucking serious that it ain't even funny. But that's where this is so touchy. I'm gonna end it by just saying, folks, it's a new whole slew of generations out there. Be careful, that we're raising responsible, independent adults, because there is a side of it out there now. A lot of parents feel like these kids can live home as long as they like, that it's rough out there. As long as they this and that, and that's okay if that works for your household. I'm not telling you. I'm just telling you, for me, it would never work. Go ahead, please.
Can I ask a question? I just want to ask a question.
Please.
Do you think that because there are whole generations that push their children out with that notion of basically like you can't come back, like you got to stay on your own? Do you think if we started having more multi-generations that we would be able to heal certain generational curses, that we'd be able to heal people, that it would be able to build better people up?
I do. I truly and really do. On a serious note, you and I had this conversation where we talk about traditional values all the time, and that's one of them. I really and truly do. I think, Tasha, even when you look at nature, we can learn a lot from just nature animals. You think about birds, there's a logic and a lesson in pushing a bird out of the nest so it can fly on its own. There's a logic in lion families to where, guess what? The male lion, he runs off all the motherfucking male lions. He run them all off, including his sons. You know why? He sent his sons out there to find their own bitches and start their own motherfucking pride. There's a logic in it. You see it with the primates as well. Now, we're supposed to be smarter than them. There was a time when it was inbred in us that when you got grown, you got out and had your own. I grew up with sayings like, you know what? Every ass need to have its own place. When you want to do your own thing, you need to have your own place. And for me, it just was a natural progression that I got to a place where I've learned all I can learn here. And my mom's rules are now no longer what I want to adhere to. And by the way, I wanted my own freedom and independence. I personally don't understand why a grown person would want to. It's different if you have to, your circumstances. But we're not even sending kids away to college anymore where they can gain that experience.
Do you know how much college costs?
I know what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? You don't have to live on a dorm or whatever. And again, that's a whole nother conversation. You could be going to community college, but that's just it. We're no longer even developing, in my opinion, intersocial skills, skills to be accountable and independent. So to answer your question, I know I went the long way around. I do believe that if we were to bring that back to make men and women stand on their own, we would have a better society as a whole because we would have more responsible people out there. That's
No,
what I
no,
think.
no, no. My question was like if you allow them to like to stay and to live together a little bit longer,
Okay.
because I do think that it is a plague of the Black community for whatever reason.
Okay.
That as soon as the children hit 18, oh, you grown. That's it. I'm done. That's it.
I
And
got you. I got you.
and I disagree with that.
Okay.
And this is the reason why I don't have children, because I firmly believe children are forever. They're an obligation until one of y'all die,
Okay.
whichever one.
Okay.
So you are obliged to help your child for in perpetuity until the day that you die.
I wish Kenny was on it because he believed that same belief. I don't believe that. I don't share that belief. I believe my responsibility towards my kid in terms of taking care of them financially and things like that ends when they become an adult for me. Now, in terms of I'm always going to be a source of wisdom and support, but I don't believe that. And so to your point, I love what you said about that does happen in the Black African American community. But now here's where we got to look at that part of it though. I'm only advocating what I'm talking about if you've taught your kids all along the way to be responsible, the value of money, how to. So what I'm talking about is those old school values where guess what? When I was 8, 9, and 10, I had to do dishes, take out the garbage, learn how to mop, how to clean a kitchen for real. When I was 11 and 12 years old, you know how many Saturdays I spent learning how to cook full meals, not fucking a cup of soups. I'm talking about how to fucking fry chicken. You know how many hours I spent washing greens over and over and over and over, snapping peas and shit like that. And even though I hated it, but what it prepared me for is that when I did turn 17 and I left, guess what, Tasha? I could iron, I could cook, I could sew, I could do laundry. So what's happening, you're right. In the African American community, we are pushing them out, but we're also not teaching them any of those life lessons. First of all, there aren't men in the home. All you sad motherfuckers out there who spread your seed around and puffing your chest out, it's more to fatherhood than making babies. And all you lazy ass no good women, it's a lot more to mothering than taking your motherfucking food stamps and going to the corner store, Family Dollar, and making meals out of motherfucking Happy Meals and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm advocating teaching kids basic real lessons of survival so that when they do leave, and it don't have to be 18. Let me be for real. I'm with you on that. You shouldn't be waiting on the moment you get 18, because for some it may be 21, 24, 25. I get that kids, their development a little different. But if you're pouring into them the lessons that they need to learn, this is what I'm saying. That kid himself is going to want to leave.
Yeah.
That's my thing, is that it wouldn't get to a point where, damn, you've been here a long time. If you pour in the right lessons onto, and you're watching that kid be responsible and go out and get a job and spend it, because yes, they should be staying until you teaching them that, you know, they're going to make some mistakes. But I firmly believe that if you did that though, that when that kid does say, okay, you know what, mom, I think I'm going to get my own place, it should be a proud moment, you know. Now he may be 18, he may be 26, maybe he's met somebody and now he wants to do, but it should be a proud moment that when he leaves, he doesn't have to come back. Now, I love your point that you his mom forever. I get that. But hopefully if you've taught him right, he's not out there blowing this money on standing on couches and then coming to you to pay rent. That's the shit that I'm talking about. Anybody can make some mistakes and run into a hard time. I'm 100% okay if my son comes to me and he says, you know, damn, you know, rent went up and my car note and I got caught, my check, everything. And then, you know what? So dad, can I get a little loan or whatever? But if I see you out there blazing up, you know what I'm saying? You ain't doing shit you're supposed to do, and you think that my money is fuck that. Fuck that.
No, it's for life.
You're
It's
not gonna party on
forever.
my and that's why. So again, that's why you're gonna party on my motherfucking dime. You know, So I call me mean. Okay, this subject. That's how serious this subject was. Let me read a few more comments because again, I want to make sure I get in the audience that's watching this because they got some value. Carol says some mothers make their sons lazy and dependent by giving them too much. I believe in making them stand alone. Always know will always be there for him, but only in emergencies. Miss Carolyn, I couldn't agree more. Miss Toria, welcome, Miss Toria, super fan. She says, I know my son passed away at 21. Sorry to hear that, but my two daughters had their own place after they started college. One came home for 1 month, and one child got a new place after 1 month. The other one did not. See, and that's what I'm talking about. You're there, but you say she wants you. She says they come and visit for like 2 weeks at a time. We talk every day. They are my responsibility until we close our eyes. So she's agreeing with you, Tasha, and I agree. And here's Brother Kenny says, I totally agree, Tasha. Most 18-year-olds aren't ready to do ish on their own, let alone 20-year-olds. I think that's the failure of the parent, Brother Kenny. That when you make that statement to me that most 18-year-olds aren't ready to do ish, I'm going to say the word. They aren't ready to do shit, let alone 21. I think that for me, that's the failure of a parent. You have failed your child if they get to be 21 and they can't stand on their own. There's a scene in the movie Black Panther. Shout out to Marvel Black Panther.
It's so stupid.
You know what I'm saying? And T'Challa, when he dies, the Black Panther, and he, in their ancestral right, he gets in before he takes on the mantle of Black Panther to see his father. And then he sees his father and all his foreparents or whatever. And he says to his father, he says, well, I don't know if I'm ready to rule. You know what the father says to him? He says, then I failed you. Haven't you been by my side every day of your life? He says to him, watching me rule as king. And if you're telling me, I'm elaborating on what was in the scene, but he basically was saying, if you're telling me just because I'm dead that you're not ready to rule, I failed you as a parent. He said, have I ever failed you? And he says, no. You, to me, have failed your child if you haven't poured into them lessons to stand on their own. No, do I expect them to be able to make all of the decisions that we make because of our wisdom? Absolutely not. But shame on you, in my opinion. I'm sorry. And that's why I say we'll agree to disagree. That if you telling me a motherfucking 18, 21-year-old boy can't go out there and stand on his own. So anyway, that's just my opinion. Kenny says, if I ever came into some big money, I would buy land and houses just for my children and myself and live in our own community. I love that, Brother Kenny. And I embrace that too. I dream about hitting that motherfucking lottery right now. Bought my tickets tonight in case you bought yours. But here's the difference. That's my Capricornian brother. Kenny, here's where you and I different. I don't want to see my motherfucking family or kids living on the same land with me. I don't want them in my close-knit community. I love them. I love my family, but you got me all the way fucked up. If you think I want to see my brothers and sisters, cousins, nieces, I ain't that communal. That's just me. That's just me. I purposely moved away. I purposely moved away from home, and I never went back because I don't like living in a city with family. I love visits, and I love to go visit, but I want to go home. And I don't want to see family on a regular basis. And Jamie Foxx has a mansion where he's got his mother and his father living in the house with him along with his children. The mother and the father are divorced. I think that's a beautiful thing that he's able to do that. Could never be me. I said again, I walk around like Winnie the Pooh. I don't want to see my family on no fucking regular basis. And I don't mean just in my house. I don't want them motherfuckers to be able to drive a golf cart over to my house. If I hit the lottery, Kenny, they all getting $1 million. Pick a city, goddammit, just not this city.
I would love to see that lottery winning speech. Oh God, they were playing forever.
So I'm sorry. I need to know you in another city so I can go visit your ass. Don't be here in Atlanta. Hell no. Carolyn says, at Kendrick, that's what my son always says. He's putting all of his family in their own houses on our land. I love you guys. No. Stacy says, Kendrick, I'm about to do such a thing along with our grown along. She says, Kendrick, I'm about to do such a thing along with grow our own food. Man, y'all the best. Y'all good people. I'm not. Kendrick says, and Stacy love it. That's what I'm talking about. Kitty says, and Carol, bravo. That's what's called the village. Kitty, I left the village and I ain't never going back, partner. I ain't never going back. Tori say, hey, Kitty, miss you up here. We miss you, my brother. You already know. You already know your views and values is a motherfucker. My brother from another says, LOL, black. Wow, my brother. Kitty, I've been raised with 11 motherfuckers. When you grew up in a house with 11 motherfuckers, you smelling their feet, their ass, looking at their crusty ass face. I love y'all. If y'all watching, don't live in the same city with me. Hell no. Hell no. Tori said, Mr. Black, I know you would give them. I would. Tasha, do we not talk about this all the time?
We do talk about that, and that's what he says. I'll give you whatever, but
I put that hand in God. No questions asked. I don't care what you do with it. I got a brother right now that says he don't fuck with us. None of the brothers and sisters. He don't speak to us, don't fuck with us. Now, it just so happens he spent better part of 30 years recovering as a crack addict, and all of a sudden you want to get up and say you don't fuck with us. But okay, fuck you too.
Tell that man's fuck business like that.
But even that ungrateful motherfucker, I would give $1 million. No questions asked. Walk up to his door, knock on the door, and hand that motherfucker a check for $1 million and walk the fuck away. If he tear it up, piss on it, shit on it, my conscience is clear. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. If he go back to crack and have the crack party to end all crack parties, God bless him. God bless him.
Crack party.
Just motherfucker, don't move here. Don't move here. Oh
God.
Carolyn said the way the economy is set up, we all may have to be together. Absolutely. Now, I would more quicker move in with a friend than I would with family, though. I have found in my lifetime, I do better with friends. And I've been fortunate in my life that I've had, my best friends have always been women. That woman sitting on camera right now, lived with her for 7.5 months.
The longest 7.5 months of his life.
Shit. And I was about to say, did we get on each other's nerves? Tasha,
I'm sure we did. I'm sure we did.
Of course. Yeah. But I never felt unwelcome, you know, and again, it was her place, her rules. I understood that. I did my best to be clean and out of the way and stuff like that. And again, I would do that again in a heartbeat before this is the God's honest truth, no lie, before I would move in with family. I fare better. The friendships I have made, I do better than to move in with family. There's a different level of expectation when you're dealing with family. Now, that's my experience. So for Stacy and Carol and Ken, y'all may be different, but for me, that's always been the case. So, man, oh my God. So that was a long one. I'll let Miss Tori have the last say on this one. Miss Tori says, I used to say, if I hit that big one, over 150 mil, I leave my house and give it to a homeless vet, pay taxes for 5 years, give my kids each $1 million, and my good friends each get 100,000 and move to Hawaii. I love it. I love it, Miss Tori. I love it.
I don't even know that many different people.
And I love your thinking. And that's the beauty of it, that I really could. If I hit that much, me and my nephew talked about this. I really could give nephews and nieces $100,000 and not even miss it. So that them motherfuckers wouldn't have to bug me either, too. When I say motherfucker, I mean that with love if y'all watching. But I'm just saying, you really could. Because the difference is, me on social media, I love what you said, Tasha. I don't really have a whole lot of friends. Now, if I look in the friends list, it's motherfuckers in there I don't know. But in my real life, with people that count, I got family and I got a handful of real friends that I absolutely would make millionaires. Do you know why? By making them millionaires too, they get to experience and enjoy what I have. Right. And now there is an even playing field where the friendship can go on and be authentic without money being a part of it. So that girl, that woman sitting right there, wouldn't even think twice. She's a millionaire. So that when I say, Tasha, get your ass on a plane and meet me in Costa Rica, she can't say, I don't have the money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm quitting my job anyway when he wins.
You feel,
I
but
don't
I'm saying,
care for $5. I'm quitting my job.
No. Me and Tasha talked about this. You wouldn't even get that chance. I would show up at your fucking door and say, Tasha, get in the car, and I would start driving. You Black, what the fuck you taking me? You know, we'd be getting on the plane. Well, Black, my job. Fuck your job.
That's right. Fuck
your job. And then I tell you why. And then I would tell you why. But again, my logic is the handful of people that I consider real friends, I will want them to have that same joy and independence and freedom that I have, so that the friendship now can continue to thrive and grow, and it's not based on money. Carol says, Lee, you only need a handful of friends. Real, absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree. All right. I want to get to this next one. I don't know what he's talking about, but it looked interesting. And damn, we spent like the whole song now. In case this is your first time watching, we live in a rabbit hole in this motherfucker. Yes. We live in a rabbit hole. We don't discuss topics on Real Talk and just do the topical shit. We get real and raw and honest, as you see. So that's how we do. So we get to what we can get to. So let me share my screen and just get to another one, and we'll do it. So here we go. Because I had some other things queued up, but it is what it is. All right. So here we go. I just looked at the guy's face, and he looked like he was saying something worth hearing. So we're going to see what he's talking about. So let me scroll up a little bit, and let's put some volume to this bitch.
Bro, girls spending $700 on their hair, $200 on their nails. Yep. Still got the car.
Yep.
Bro, they spending a bag.
No, women spend bags, bro.
And they still managing it okay. But it's just like, it's the fact that you're doing it. And there's a lot of women who manage their money very fucking well. Ladies, y'all gotta be careful, man.
Because it's some grimy dudes out here. They watching y'all Instagrams. They like, damn, she taking this trip. She buying this. She buying that. Do she got a man? If she ain't got no man, I'm finna try to bag her because she finna blow this bread on me.
Facts.
And they ain't got nothing going for them.
Nothing.
They can't even get no crib what they own. They ain't got no car for real. They got hella debt, but you to come up. And it's the thing about putting all your information on the internet, because if I'm looking to get at a girl or whatever, and I know everything she like, I know her favorite restaurants, I know what happened in her past relationships, I know her favorite place to travel, I know everything about her because she posts everything.
Yep.
It makes it so much easier for me to get her.
Yes.
I know what attracts her. I know how to mirror her. I know to say, oh, she like this kind of guy. Let me be that. If I'm a piece of shit dude that's trying to come up. Women have the same situation sometimes, especially when you get lit. People always talking about gold digging women. In 2023, it's an epidemic of dudes trying to come up off women.
For sure.
This doesn't just apply to men. It goes both ways.
That's a bar. People don't think, bro.
No, they don't.
Women really, in most relationships, are the breadwinners.
Today,
nobody talks
about that. That's what I'm saying. 2023, like women running it up for real.
Bro, girls spending $700 on their hair.
So that's where we came in.
Women have the same situation.
That's where we came in. So they're clearly having this conversation about
people always talking about gold digging women. In 2023.
So I wanted to hear that. And if you look at the caption, it says luxury gang. Let's really talk about this one. Women are really in their bags, and we love that for them, but beware of the men that see this as a come up. How do y'all feel about this? So these two young brothers, I guess they call themselves the luxury gang, are talking about gold digging men in 2023. Tasha, what do you feel about what they had to say? What do you think about that? And before you comment, Ms. Stacy says, I only have a best friend of 36 years. All other females stabbed me in the back or talked about me out of jealousy. I hear you, sweetheart. Okay, Tasha, what do you think about this conversation these brothers were having about gold digging men? And they were talking about in 2023, women are to come up, and gold digging men. What do you think about this?
Yeah, it's homosexual season. Hobosexuals. That's why I call them that. It's a group of men out here that don't have their own place to stay. They literally just make it throughout like the summertime and the warmer weather. They're couch surfing. They're able to sleep at this friend's house, sleep at this friend's house. They're jumping in and out of different relationships, constantly being able to be put out of somebody's house because they're getting these quick fast relationships because they do all that. Like you said, they mirror the woman. They are able to manipulate them. They can dickmatize them. Hell, they ain't doing nothing but fucking. So that's if they ain't doing nothing else, they ain't working on nothing else. They know how to fuck. So it's definitely true. However, people, I say all the time, people do have to be smart about what they put on social media, but you can't always believe what's on social media either. Some of those people may be living, they live in paycheck to paycheck. Or she may look like that she has that good life until she gets you caught up in some shit. Now the scammer done got scammed. So you just have to be careful. Know what you're going into it for, and really, and just really truly don't be so eager to have somebody just to say that you have somebody.
I love it. Let me ask you a question. Do you think what they're talking about in terms of men being gold diggers and homosexuals, do you think that's generational, or you think all across the board, do you see this with men?
No, I think it's all across the board. I would used to say I think it's more prevalent now in this generation,
Okay.
but I would say that you will still see some men in their 40s, in their 50s, still doing the same shit. You and I both know someone who's like that.
Yes, Lord. Yes,
And
Lord.
he knows how to be tricking bitches. He don't do nothing but trick his dick, but when he catches somebody, he catches somebody. So
Wow. Okay. So let me, when I listened to that clip and I absorbed it in its totality, what a couple of things struck me. Number one, I looked at the age of the two young men having this conversation, and they were talking about, women is in their bag, and the one young guy talked about women doing this for their nails and their hair, and they still able to do this, that, and the other. That's the part that struck me, because it is a little hard for me to relate to it as much, because I'm a 55-year-old man and I come from a different generation. I have a different level of expectation, and what they see as a woman doing that in their bag, I think is silly as shit. So, right there for me, I have issues now, not with what they're saying, because I think there's some validity in what they were saying about men taking advantage of women. But I'm gonna add another layer to it though, and say this. I don't necessarily think women want it any other way. Now that may be controversial for me to say it that way, because something you talked about, Tasha, when I look at social media, and because that's how we know how somebody is flaunting it. We don't really know these motherfucking people. The truth of the matter is, we know what we see. Like you said, we know that social media is a big fat lie.
right.
It's phony and it's fake. But what people want you to perceive from it, they're putting that out there. They want you to see that they drink and do say. And what's the new tequila that everybody's on now, Casamigos or some shit. They want you to see they're drinking a name brand drink, and that they're eating at an exclusive restaurant, and that, last month I was in Miami and now I'm over here and I got this certain bag. And what's funny to me, and I've been saying this for a long time, all that shit that a lot of these women is putting out there, here's the funny part to me. It's what those two guys are talking about. It's for other women to see. Now, if you make yourself a motherfucking mark, am I wrong for taking advantage of you? I come from a generation where when you see a fool, you bump their motherfucking head over and over and over and over. Now, it just so happened that I don't need your shit, as I have elocuted so well. I got my own place, and that's why I have home court advantage. So I've never been one to have to go to your house because you got a better house than me, this, that, and the other. I'm also not impressed by a vehicle or what you eating or what you drinking. Let me tell you something, folks. I drink Paul Masson on my birthday and Jesus' birthday too. So all that other shit that you're talking about, it don't really matter to me. And a car is just a car. You know what I'm saying? Can it get me from A to B? I drive a Nissan, not because I can't drive better, but that's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to spend a whole lot of time in a car. And oh, by the way, that shit that you're flashing and showing, you know, if that's what you're using, and again, it's other women that are looking at that and say, oh, she balling. She doing it big, and I want what she got. I think there's a segment of men, to your point, Tosh, there's a lot of men, all age groups that are homosexual and stuff like that, but there's some of us that I don't care about that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That means nothing. Now, if you want to flaunt it, I'm okay with that in this sense. I'm not paying $200 to get your motherfucking hair done. Personally, I don't care if you have any hair on your head at all.
That's not what you need anyway.
I don't need her hair. I don't even need the bitch teeth, to be honest with you. You know, if you're gonna have a few of them in your head, make sure they clean so they don't infect my dick. But having said that, I don't give a shit about how much you spend on your nails. In fact, if you spend too much on your nails, I probably won't fuck with you. Well, you can suck my dick, but you can't fuck because if your nails is too glittery, you ain't wiping your ass properly. So I'm looking at those things. But if you want to show up across this threshold and you spent that kind of money on your hair, your nails, or whatever, when you get here, I'm still the lord of the manor. That's why I don't go to these bitches' house. I don't care what her bed looks like. Most of them don't make it to my bedroom anyway. You get bit right here on this floor on your knees. Now, if the pussy is halfway decent and it'll smell to it, you might make it to the bedroom. Even then, 3 o'clock, you got to go. So the rules don't change.
That is not the rabbit hole we need to go down. Okay.
I'm only saying the point for me is that, you know what? I'm of a different generation. I can't fully relate to that because I'm not looking at the bag that these women are getting. That means absolutely nothing to me. And by the way, let me go on and piss women off all the way. I don't give a fuck about your education either. You know what I'm saying? I don't need that either.
Cancel immediately. Cancel.
No, and that's not to say I don't like intelligent women. I want y'all to say, but you have to know what I'm talking about. This is a conversation we've had many, many times about what men like. Let me read a couple of comments. I will be remiss. Miss Stacy says, I agree with them. I don't flash on social media. I'm not looking for no man. I'm waiting on God to bring me my husband. I'm not taking care of no man. I'm not desperate. And judging by your picture, Miss Stacy, baby, you don't have to. You don't have to. You look super attractive and like you got your shit together, so you don't have to. Stacy says, I'm not buying not one wig. I will make my own. I'm not materialistic. I'm reaching for generational wealth. I'd rather put my money in my. So that's what I was talking about, Stacy. That's why I brought up the age of the two guys having that conversation, because they're, to me, referring to their generation of what they see. And and again, that's when I look at social media and that, even the term when they say get in the bag, but the kind of, on a serious note, the kind of women that I really would be looking for, this is my best friend up here. And, again, we're best friends for a reason. But real talk, real talk, as we say for the show, look at Tasha. Tasha's attractive. Tasha has a master's degree. I ain't gonna put all the business out there, but Tasha has a master's degree. This woman drives a badass Cadillac. She has her own crib. Her place is immaculate. She cooks. Her place is super fucking clean. She helped me decorate my place. She doesn't spend her money on frivolous shit like that. Because when she get paid, she take care of bills. Me and her talk about this all the time. When the first come, you know what we're talking about? I got to pay my rent.
Mm-hmm.
I got to pay this. I got to pay that. So that's why that's the type of woman I'm looking at, somebody that's more responsible fiscally, in every other way, and that wants something different. Because if you're still chasing the bag, see, I can't relate to that anyway. But I think for a lot of these women that get these homosexuals, in a way, Tasha, our friend that dickmatizes them, live off his dick, he couldn't continue to do it if they wouldn't allow it.
That's true. That's true. But that goes back to your point, like of women wouldn't want it any other way. Because again, the person that I'm talking about isn't somebody in that. This is somebody who's much older.
Right.
He is closer to your age,
Right.
and even now the woman that he is with is closer to your age. So, but I think that that's why it's one of those things, like, you just some people are just so quick to just want to have somebody, even if it means that they have to pay for it.
Abso-freaking-lutely. And then, you know, I think about these terms that they have for the good men out here, who they're simps or wimps or whatever the fuck they call them. When you do have a guy that's saying, hey, let's not spend our money on that, let's do this, that, and the other, well, he doesn't measure up. So a lot of women like the bad guys, so to speak, who fuck them, drive their car, run up their credit. That's what I'm talking about. Some of them wouldn't have it any other way. I famously, when I was out there, oh my God, the dirty, low down shit that I did, they loved every bit of it. It wasn't until if I wanted to get rid of them, then I was the good guy. So there is something to that notion of, yeah, you go get the apartment, I'll lay up on you because I ain't gonna get it. Shit, I just need a place to come and crash and get high, blah, blah. So you wonder why you look in these women's houses and they got 4 niggas sitting around smoking weed all day, playing video games. She don't want him to go nowhere else. Do you know there's a lot of women that if a man goes to a job every day, they don't want him because he's not available. He's a square. Some of them, there's a lot of them out there that would prefer you to be without a job and that they can, you accessible every day, all day. So that's, you know, you have to look at the context of, you know, who we're talking about. I want to squeeze in one more, but I want to read these last couple of comments. I want to squeeze in one more. Carol says, that's right, Tasha. I do the same. My bills get paid on time and before time too. Yeah. Amen. Stacy says, those are women who are afraid to be alone. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And we've done many a show about, you know, a lot of people, they'd rather have somebody than be alone, you know, even if it's not the right somebody. And they remain in these toxic relationships, especially Tasha referenced homosexuals. We are fully, folks, heading into cuffing season where the humility of women is going to go way up because they don't want to be alone, and they're going to, their tolerance for what they normally would put up with is going to go way down because they don't want to be alone. You know, last one I want to share with you guys, and because again I see these two ladies talking, and it looks like they got some good shit to say, and then we'll close this bad boy out. All right, share my screen, folks. Thank you for commenting too. I love everything that you guys have been bringing in. So here we go.
Women. And what's happened is the rise of social media and the rise of online dating and the rise of feminism has taught women that they are not to blame for any poor choices. Every poor choice is glamorized. So if you want to be a sex worker, it's great. If you want to post in bikini pictures online, it's fine. If you want to be with it, every poor choice is glamorized, and every internal reflection is seen as gaslighting yourself. So they've even got terms for internal reflection to prevent it happening. And so what will happen is they are trained to not reflect on themselves because we've been told, we've been oppressed for so many years. Now it's time to make sure we project. And so we don't take any accountability. And as a result, when we get into relationships, if we don't feel completely soothed all the time, he must be a narcissist. He must be a manipulator. He must be gaslighting. He, rather than I. Created a generation of narcissistic women. And what's happened is...
I'll stop it there because we missed that first part. She says, we've created a generation of narcissistic women. And she went on to detail the reasons why. I'm definitely curious, Tasha, do you feel like she's hitting the nail on the head, or where do you disagree? Before I say that, Carolyn says, I was single for years after my first marriage, but I took my time and found a man who loves me for me. We have the same goals and work towards them. I want what you got, Miss Carolyn. It's hard out there to find that, so bravo. Tasha, as we close out, what do you think about what this and I want to make sure that we call out that, you know, I don't know what her culture or ethnicity is, but it's not American, right? We would agree with that, right?
Right.
So that she's saying that. What do you think about that?
It's a lot of truth to that. There is a generation of narcissistic women because it is a whole rebirth of feminism and really, really leaning into feminism, the modern age feminism, so it's all about empowering. There is no shame. There is no discretion. It is everything is yes, 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 yes. You can do it. Yes, you're the same. Yes, and no. You don't have to feel bad about it. No, you don't have to be ashamed of it. No, you don't have to hide it from anybody. No, you don't have to show respect to anybody if you don't want to. So I mean, it's very, very sad, but also and again, we're only gonna, only referring to, the women,
Right,
because that's
right.
what the topic was on. But that's when people say that there's a lot of, poison in the dating pool, the call is coming from inside the house. Okay. It's
Wow.
often the ones who are saying it that are poisoning it.
Wow. I appreciate your honesty on this so much, and I'll close out, and it's not even going to be long-winded. I love that you said we're going to keep it in the context of just women because
Just women.
we could
Yeah.
have because that's what she's talking about, because we could certainly open that door to much larger things. But that what she talked about, one of the parts that really struck me, where she talked about that behavior is being rewarded, and that we as men, that if we don't make you feel soothed as women sometimes, then we're the ones considered toxic and narcissists and things of that nature. And we kind of talked about that at the end of the show on Monday on TFG tonight with Brenton Haynes, and we were talking about that a little bit. We kind of at the end of it, because sometimes I think that's where we as men are reluctant to even say anything, because in this new era of Me Tooism, and like you said, Tasha, where there's no accountability for the behaviors that's out there, I just observe. I really do observe now, but that's one of the reasons why I'm single. I joke and say a lot of crazy, funny shit, but on a more serious note, to your point, Miss Carol, what I'm looking for, I have a real fear that it just is. I don't know if it's out there. We always want to believe, I guess, that it's out there somewhere, but it's certainly not readily available because of what that young lady was talking about. If you challenge a lot of these women now in terms of the behaviors that you see, because there is this new women empowerment. And I did a segment, a couple of weeks ago where I said, welcome to the throne. When you pray for rain, you have to deal with the mud. You took on all these responsibilities and you wanted to be the breadwinner. And as these other two young guys talked about, and women, y'all are doing it. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Y'all drive better cars than we do, all this kind of stuff. But what did you sacrifice in getting to that level? Because the behavior that it took to get you there, and Tasha and I've had this conversation, and I get so cringe when I hear queens, black queens, this, that, and the other. And I'm not talking about all women, certainly not all black women either, but not everybody out there is behaving like a queen.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you're twerking and flaunting and you got the bag doesn't make you a queen. And so a lot of us men, we've bowed out. We've bowed out of the scene because we don't want to be seen as narcissistic and telling you what to do, but we've lost so much. So I just love what she had to say. And I thank you, Tasha, for sharing your view on that. Miss Toria says, good show. Love you all. See you Saturday. Have good rest of the week. Hit the like and share. Thank you so much. She's always looking out for our show and the other shows. So yes, as we close out, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Tasha and I have been doing this for over 4 years. This is how we get down. And just so people know, we have these conversations on air and off air. This is what we do, so you get to listen in on stuff we talk about just every day on a regular conversation. So I appreciate you for popping in. Carol, Stacy, Toria, Derek, and at one point, I was Kenny, we missed you and we missed the family. But at one point, I had 71 people popped in, 71 people. So I bring that up only to say, if you like this, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, tell family, tell friends, come on back. and we invite you to be on the show. As you see, we can disagree, but we're gonna never get disagreeable. We love, challenging opinions, opposing opinions. That's what makes us do what we do. Ms. Carolyn, you definitely have a good night as well, and thank you for continuing to pop in and show support. And so, look, I hope everybody have a good rest of their week. I hope we've given you a little bit something to think about. Continue these conversations. Share them with a friend, with a cousin, with the good male friend. See what they think. And oh, by the way, give us some ideas of things you want to see us talk about. Tasha and I, we are open and we're not scared. We ain't never been scared. We'll talk about anything. Never. You know what I'm saying? So thank you, guys. We on the other side of hump day, Tasha, as we always say.
Yes.
So thank you, sweetheart, popping in and supporting as always. Love you. And we miss everybody. Everybody have enjoyed the rest of their night and have a great rest of your week. And yes, we hope to see you on Saturday. Peace out and be good to each other and always stay